What's the point?
Cold start. And I'll keep talking until I see
And
you are live.
here we go. And now it's live.
Yeah.
Now we're live. So GM, Adrienne, and you just said something funny so I've been very preoccupied with CastOut, as I tend to be when we're playing. And I usually am questioning all my life's choices and why I do this to myself. And then I have moments of fun and I'm like, oh, that's why. Okay. And now I remember. So you said, oh yeah, the news still goes on.
There's still Farcaster news. So late last night, I checked our shared Discord to see what we were talking about on the news. And there were like 2 links. And I was like, oops, maybe I should pull my weight just a little bit, and found some good stuff to talk about. So yes, I'm on point now to find the Farcaster news for us to talk about while CastOut happens.
It's on you for the next couple days until next week. But before that, we are going to talk about some news. So we'll be back in 55 seconds after this fun little intro. So go recast, retweet, and let everybody know that we are starting. Welcome to GM Farcaster, bringing you everything from breaking news to spicy memes to the deep lore shaping this vibrant digital community. More than just a show, GM Farcaster is your digital third space where the community connects, the stories unfold, and the culture thrives. Whether you're a daily caster or just dropping by, we've got the latest buzz to keep you plugged in. So grab your coffee and let's dive in with your hosts, Nanish Prof and Adrienne, for another episode of GM Farcaster. And thank you to our premier partner, Octant. Be sure to check out all the latest at octant.app and mint your Dgens and Dragons cards at highlight.xyz. GM Farcaster. It is Wednesday, May 14th, and you are here with Nanish Prof and Adrienne for 29 minutes of Farcaster news, followed by a chat with chaskin.eth from the Ethereum Foundation. So we're going to talk about what's happening there. There's a lot happening, including the price of ETH going up, which I'm not mad about at all. So, that wasn't, we had this plan before that little
I'm excited.
moment.
Yeah, and I'm excited for him to tell us exactly why.
Why?
All the mechanics that go into.
I believe that everything that's going up is related to the fact that CastOut started, because it all just lined up. So
it not be.
I'm taking credit. I keep saying that about Dgen. I'm like, Yasik, obviously it's because you're Dgen sponsoring CastOut. So we are going to start with some of that news, because I know some folks are waiting for the final reveal of the meme challenge. So we're going to start with that. So we're playing CastOut. It's a survivor-inspired game played in tribes. So we have various tribes from around the Farcaster ecosystem playing in challenges, and then they're going to start voting out other tribes starting today. So we had a meme challenge, and here was a little bit about it. Each tribe had to create a meme they thought would go viral on Farcaster. So that was their audience. They had to submit it by 8 p.m. last night, and then I tracked all the engagement at 8 a.m. this morning, and we have a little formula that goes into that, including dividing by the follower account. So there's a little bit of strategy involved as to who actually casts the meme. So based on that, our winner is Cast Me Outside. So Cast Me Outside is our winner of the meme challenge, and they have immunity for this vote. So they cannot be voted out. And this was their meme, not pictured. Builders shipping mini app updates later that night. This is the most based selfie based on the original Oscar selfie that was like a big deal back in the day, but with some really fun updates, including you and I in there. So very fun. I see Ted and Linda and DWR, TLDR, and a whole bunch of, and Deployer, and really fun. Yeah. So JRS, I think that is.
It's an animated GIF. Yeah. It's an animated GIF meme.
Yep, very cute. So great job. And it was posted by Warpcost, which was smart because Warpcost only has 219 followers. Guess who's on the top of the leaderboard right now? I can't believe they left you out of the selfie either. Yes to crypto. That is actually surprising.
You have your own t-shirt. So,
but hold on. Yeah, we're getting to you in just a second. But yes, Warp Cost is now at the top of the leaderboard, which is hilarious. Yes, it is. It is 2017. Welcome to 2017.
when do we get to opine and talk about the selfies? Is that at the CastOut show at noon?
Yes.
Selfies, the memes.
The memes.
When are we
Yes.
evaluating the memes? At noon.
At noon, we will talk.
Okay.
We'll show all of the memes. We'll talk about the whole challenge. We'll also reveal the vote, because right now what's going to happen between now and 11:30 a.m. Eastern, the next 3 hours, the tribes are going to vote. They have to decide who they want to vote out. They're making alliances. They're doing their thing. This is when the social game takes off. And so all that's happening. The other thing that happened yesterday was that a hidden immunity idol was found, finally. So Lil Sock Gang is holding an immunity idol, which they can use today or not. So they have to let me know before I count the votes, and we'll see what happens. So there we go. Check in at noon. We'll have Ted as our co-host on there chatting about all the things. And we'll see you at noon for more CastOut stuff. Moving on, this is the big news. Let's be honest. This is the big news. It happened. The news broke during the show. And I'm not going to have the audio on this, but I'm just going to play this video. And Matcha, finally, base limit orders are now live on Matcha. So yes to crypto. Your hard work has paid off. This was amazing to see all come together. Thank you for your patience and your memes. I mean, it's such a fun story that if you, for some reason, have missed this every day for 180 days, Yes to Crypto has put out a meme asking for Matcha to add limit orders on base, and they finally did. And he's even had conversations with, I remember at our ETH Denver meetup, he was there with Will Warren. They were having a conversation, and I'm like, okay, now he's memeing in person. So he has gone to all lengths to get this done. And Matcha has appreciated it. So here we go. Matcha did it, but what am I going to do? Now, what are you going to do now? I don't know. But let's check out this shirt, by the way. There's now a shirt you can buy in the Matcha shop. It's the Matcha Yes to Crypto base limit order wrap tees.
Wait, who is this? Whose video is this? Is this Matcha?
Yeah, this is Matcha's.
Okay.
What is his name?
Who recorded that? Do we know him?
I think it's Michael. I think his name is Mike. Yes, we've met him. We've met him a couple times.
It's so good.
He's so good. He's so funny. He was at the Creator House that Humpty did for FarCon, and he was hilarious. He was hyping that room up. So good. But also Wong. Thank you. Yeah. And I think, have you ordered your shirt is my question for you. You gotta get your shirt.
No, I haven't.
I have ordered my shirt. It's available on Slice. If you go to the Matcha store here, it's on Slice. Mine is on the way. I cannot wait to rock it on GM Farcaster, because Yes to Crypto, I'm just so in awe of your effort here. It's incredible. So I had to get one. Very cool. So that to me was the big news of the day. I just realized we didn't grab the Warpcast rewards
leaderboard.
Yeah, I didn't grab Brad's.
That's because you weren't grabbing the links.
I'm telling you, I am off my game in terms of news show today. It's gonna be a rough one, so bear with us. But before that, let me slide over to yeah, maybe I can grab it real quick. Yes to Crypto, you have your shirt already, or did you have to order one also? Is
that a limit order on the shirt? Yeah, they better.
Is there a limit order?
Of course they gave him a shirt. They should give him
good. Just make it
a case of shirts to hand out.
They should.
What's like a
bushel?
Is it a bushel of shirts? A case of shirts?
A bushel and a pack of shirts.
Welcome, new people. King Alex.
Hey, King Alex. All right. Here's our roundup from Brad Q on the rewards for this week. Rewards leaderboard results. Garrett takes the top spot, for the first time. I feel like he's been at the top before, but I don't know. Riding some lingering NYC vibes and his weekly wisdom and insight. Kate Cabell is the queen of the vibe tribe this week at number 4 with her twinning and being Ted's favorite follow. Yeah, that definitely helps. Crackers back in top 10 instead of lingering at 11. Woo, well deserved. Jan Frilla checks in at 9. First top 10, I think so too. Writing modeling vibes and killer art. And plus he just joined Rainbow, so that was helpful. Wow, Bestie sneaks in at 10 for first top 10 also, question mark. Some new names inside the top 30. Goldie Talks probably owes his grandpa $50 of his reward. CLFX.eth going higher to 25. And the meme coveted spot number 69 to TLDR. So very fun. Love to see it. And there's lots of newbies on the leaderboard as well, which you can go check that out. Brad also posts a little roundup of first timers. So go take a look at that as well. And if you look at the leaderboard right now, it's hilarious because at least 2 people from CastOut are in there for the first time in the top 10, in the top 5, which is in there. It's really funny. So both Jackie and Warp Cost are in there, which is hilarious. So we'll see if they can hold on. I would love to see that if they make it to next week. And I think I was in, I don't even remember where it was, in the 40s this time. I think it was in the 40s. Drop down a little bit.
Yeah.
It's okay. We're post Farcon. We're out of the 30.
I'll never see that again.
It's very hard. I don't think if you don't appreciate how hard it is to be in that top 30, in the top 10, I don't think I'm ever going to see. Like, that would take some kind of weirdness. By the way, I love that Goldie Talks owes his grandpa $50.
Yeah.
So funny. That video was hilarious, by the way. I don't know if anyone saw that. If you didn't see that, just go to Goldie Talks. And it's so funny. His grandpa's in the background and he's predicting who's going to win. He's like, I already told you. It's just like, does he even know he's on camera? But Goldie Talks grandpa, we'd love to see you on the timeline. So get that man a Farcaster account. This from Dan. Priorities this week from DWR: mini apps, wallet, auth addresses, improved transaction previews, bug fixes, support for additional ecosystems, and other bug fixes. Apparently, lots of bug fixes. Put it in twice. 2, onboarding, improvements to sign-up flow, new user experience, algorithm, spam labels, performance improvements, and bug fixes. Also, protocol, improvements to Snapchain. And I'm going to go out on a limb, probably some bug fixes. So seems to be a theme. We have a few big initiatives that will likely ship next week. So a lot of this week is prepping for that.
Oh, is that an announcement of an announcement?
It feels like an announcement of an announcement. It might be coming Thursday or Friday or Monday before they leave. Sorry, never mind. If you didn't see that, you didn't see that. Yeah, it was somebody from a different place who isn't on Warpcast. But Bert had hit me up with that when I made an announcement of an announcement. We're gonna have a big announcement. It might be Thursday or Friday or Monday. All right. This from Deodad. What mini app platform improvement would you like to see next? Go give it a vote. Haptics, back button, expanded, add signer. So go take a look at this. And if you have an opinion, go voice your opinion in this poll. And this from Linda. It's been fun co-hosting mini app workshops with Farcaster community members. I'm basically a sidekick to the devs. That's like underselling her role there, but okay. Workshop for Farcaster builders with Samuel Huber. Workshop for Monad builders with Limon. And workshop for FWB builders with Vegan Beef. We're just wrapped up, recording not public yet. So all the other 2 links are here. So go check those out if you missed these workshops and are interested. So Farcaster builders is going to be more focused like on Nanar and that kind of approach. And then Monad's going to be on the Monad chain. So very cool, which I think we just still have testnet. Do we have? Is it? I don't know if the rest is live.
It's just
in terms
testnet.
of on Farcaster.
On Farcaster, it's testnet.
Awesome. And I still haven't played around with that, so I need to do that. All right. And this from Dan, how to charge for your mini app. 1, focus on getting people to use it. 2, then focus on getting people to add it. 3, send them notifications. 4, if you can get them to come back 3x and do your primary thing, consider upselling. 5, most basic version of payment, become a supporter. 6, other ideas, more content, features, mint collectibles, early access, group chats, access for power users. And I thought this was interesting down here from JC4P. You're categorically correct, but I worry this leads to maximizing DAU like every other distribution platform, which leads to stupid stuff like CoStar grasping to have users open the app daily versus teaching the person about astrology. Just a random example, not my actual gripe. But I do think that's an interesting point. It's like, what are you actually trying to achieve with your mini app? Is it just engagement, or are you trying to accomplish something else or provide some kind of entertainment experience, gaming, etc.? So I think it's a good point. So thoughts on this? How's your mini app doing?
Well,
from a mini app developer perspective. Thoughts?
Stop right there. I wish we didn't bring up JC4P's comment, because it just adds layers of nuance and complexity to what could just be a very simple cast about how to get more people to add your mini app. I have nothing interesting to add. Please read these casts and think about them. That's all I want to say. I will give someone a hint. So there is a way to prompt people when they open your app, or at any point, to say, hey, add this, add the mini app. When you add the mini app, that means you automatically get to send notifications and spam people with notifications.
Yeah.
And I think those are coupled together, right? So it's like, it's like, if you can get someone to add your mini app, you've got them. But if you spam them too much, they're going to kill your mini app because they don't want it.
There's a balance. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of like that. And like a few hours ago, weeks ago, days ago, months ago, I don't know when, but I remember Dan saying, like, everyone should be adding this pop-up to get people to add your app. But if you do it right away, if you do it too soon, they're not going to want to do it. So I kind of like that he's putting that as number 2, which is like, don't ask people to add too soon. And then another reminder, you can add mini apps without the little pop-up. So top right corner, I just learned, like, there's a menu. So add your apps if you want.
And I do that. And I think it is useful to prompt it, because the other thing that happens is sometimes it's very hard to find them again. If you have to search for it, the discovery is not great. So I do think it's actually helpful to prompt them, because it helps the user find it again. If they did enjoy the experience, they can always remove it. And that they should make, put that back up. They should make adding mini apps more consistent. I feel like I have to hunt for it. Yeah, exactly. So if you add it, then it shows up in your little menu. If you don't, then it doesn't. So you have to then go find it. So I definitely agree with you there. I think it's helpful to do that. Especially anything that you like and you think you're going to go back to, make sure you add it right when you're looking at it, because you're going to forget. Build something people want, maybe they'll pay you. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like B-School 101.
Yep. Making things people want. This from Unusual Whales, breaking Coinbase $coin to replace Discover Financial Services, DFS, in the S&P 500. That's big. That's really big. Like, I don't feel like this got enough attention, to be honest. Like, this is a huge thing. Don't you think?
Yeah, totally. So Discover Financial was acquired. So they're out. Opens a space. Welcome, Coinbase. Why do you think people don't? It's because we're like boo TradFi on Farcaster.
I don't know. I think it just kind of slid under the radar, and I don't know that there was enough. Like, this is a big moment in my mind. This is the first crypto. I don't think there's another crypto company that's in the S&P 500. So
how many public crypto companies are there?
Exactly. There are not many. So this is, to me, a very big moment, and to see them replace Discover feels like I don't know, like perfect. Just perfect, honestly. So I just feel like that was just amazing. So love to see it. This from Woj, is 200 tips a lot? I just tipped my favorite Farcasters, and he tipped 200. Moon Poppy. Wow. That was huge.
Oh.
So also if you got a tip from Moon Poppy, you're not special. No, I'm just kidding. So just kidding. This from Grin, speaking of notifications, baby's first mute. Muted words, just tipped my favorite Farcasters. Well, then you're probably going to see mine because I add in some of. So sorry, Grin. I'm messing up your mute. This from Colin. We got a few more news pieces, and then we see Chaskin in our green room, and we're going to bring him up in just a moment. This from Kojo. Ponder just had the biggest payout of all times, 30x. You may be wondering how. Our anti-collusion algo identified a pool of users who have voted together a statistically extremely unlikely portion of time. Their votes were diminished in weight while they attempted to vote with large entries. TLDR, algo working as intended, big payouts for those who got it right. In other words, they took out the people who were trying to game the system, if you will, and that led to a big payout to those who were just playing, just for fun. So glad to see that. That's a great improvement there. This from our friends over at DX Terminal. Yesterday was mint day, so very exciting. You can go to the DXRGAI account and you'll find the link there. The minting is, I think, through today, and the game starts tomorrow. So I minted 5. I've got my 5 ready to go. This was very fun. I saw this from Oxen Roll Call, who's playing DX Terminal. So that's cool to see. And you'll see a few people down here. I have to go add mine to this, but there's a lot of fun ones playing. That's my background.
Did Oxen mint a Farcat?
I think he made his own in that style, is my guess. Because if he just happened to get that, that's pretty amazing. Maybe he did. I don't know. Maybe Oxen is Gremlin. Ooh, that would be no. No, he's not. But that was an interesting thought for a minute. And this is yours. I love it. I love this. I love the way you announce this. Happy to announce my new role at Coin Collective. It took me a second. I had to figure out what you were talking about, and I'm like, oh wait.
The number of congratulations I got in my replies that I don't know were earnest or not. I assume some people knew this is a game because I
and some people did not. And some people thought you were leaving me. They're like, congrats, you got away from prof.
You know what though? I'm not leaving you. So many people in our space have like multiple gigs, and jobs. Like we're not. So it's possible I'm actually starting a new role at Coin Collective.
Amazing. I can't wait to see how it goes. JRF, I only got 1 trader. Am I cooked? Yes, you are. Just kidding. Just kidding. And this one, the Sorting Hat has spoken. I'm 2% Slytherin and 100% Waffle House. So this is in relation to this from Aneri. So Aneri had posted that she was creating a mini app, and I was like, oh, cool. Like Aneri's building. That's cool. And it was a sorting hat, so you can see which house you are. I am quite the Hufflepuff. What were you? Did you do this? Were you Hufflepuff as well?
Yeah, let's talk about how Aneri was like, oh my God, I can't sleep tonight because I have an idea for a mini app and I'm going to build it. And then she built it and it took over the feed. And
it's
confession, I don't know what any of the houses mean. I don't watch or read Harry Potter.
You've never even seen like one movie?
I read the first Harry Potter book.
Okay. But it was probably a while ago. Yeah.
Maybe I watched the movies with a kid, but like it does. I don't know even. I don't know what it means. So no, I didn't.
I can tell you at least the 2 houses. Like there's basically the good and evil. The Hufflepuffs.
Aren't there 4 houses?
There's 4, but I mean, there's 2 that are very on the far ends. Like
all right, I'm probably in an.
And then Slytherin's the bad one.
What's Harry in?
Hufflepuff, I think. Right. I think. I
And are
think
the
so.
other two NPC houses? I'll be in one of those.
I don't know. NPT. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember them all.
Gryffindor is one.
Gryffindor. Yeah. Oh, maybe it's Gryffindor. I don't remember. But this was really fun. So go check it out. See what you are. It pulls your casts. So it's pulling from your casts. It's pulling from the content that you put on the timeline. And that's how it's determining. Are you playing Harry Potter music?
Yeah. Okay, I'm a Gryffindor.
You're a Gryffindor.
Thanks, Anari.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Amazing. And it's really cute. If you read through the description, it pulls out certain casts and tells you why you are the things you are. And it's really cute.
Right.
So very fun. Love to see it. And I love to see somebody who's not a dev, who's not necessarily that's their focus. Building something like this is very cool to see. So a lot of fun. This from MJC716, announcing new mini app. Just tag WalknTalk and your video will be added to a mini app feed of WalknTalks because we needed this. So
the algorithm was already showing me every single WalknTalk that anyone
did I
recorded.
need to put these all in one place? Oh, it's not opening for me on here.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Sometimes it just needs me to go on, but it was working. It was working yesterday, and it's just all the WalknTalks in a row. And so there you go. If you need your WalknTalks all in one place, there it is.
Have you recorded a WalknTalk yet?
I have not. I am highly unlikely to do so, but we'll see. Maybe I will, just for the heck of it. I'd be way more likely to talk and do something else, but we'll see. I like the walk and bark from our friend Bert. I think that was my favorite so far. I love the Bert. The Bert content. This from Dylan Aberscato from Crypto the Game. Is this the intersection of art and technology? He was on the TBPN show. But above it says art market absolutely ripping right now. And then he's on there as well. I'm like, I don't know how those two things are connected. But Dan had also posted that he was going to be on next week or something, I think. I am not familiar with this stream. Are you? It seems like it's a big deal, but this isn't my world, apparently. Are you familiar?
Not even remotely heard of it.
Okay. And I was like, maybe it's just me, and this is something you know.
Okay. Like sounds like a big deal.
Yeah.
This podcast is clearly sponsored by lots of brand names and big names, so they must have a big audience and must be doing really well. And I've not heard of the acronym, have not heard of them. So a great example of how much the internet has just created massive, like little niche places and
and so it's apparently
everywhere.
Like one of the biggest tech podcasts, or live streams. I think they're a live stream.
That's going to be, and this will be GM Farcaster for not just our news show, but for all Farcaster media, because all Farcaster will be the operating system for all of humanity. And
okay, and there we go. And we'll be at the center of it.
We'll be the network. Yeah,
we'll be the network for it. And there you go. By the way, this is great. There's an episode for that. It's going to be your new tagline. So DXRGAI, is there an explainer or somewhere I can go to understand how all this works? This is, I should have put this with the DX terminal stuff.
You're off your game
for that. So there you go. So if you missed that part on Wednesday, May 7th, we had Poof ETH on to talk about DX terminal. And if you ask GMFC 101, it can point you to various episodes and bring you right to it and give you a nice little link so you can go watch that show. And it's getting really good. It's fantastic. And you went on to ask a few other questions and it's doing really well. And this has been a big project for you. This is from you.
I just tell you though, I showed my husband, I demoed that. I was like, look, we had this game started. We had Poof on last week to tell us about the game. So I asked my bot, like summarize the episode. And then I asked further questions and he just said, wow, did you build Grok? I was like, I guess I did. I guess GMFC 101 is Grok for Farcaster.
Yes, it is. That is exactly what you built.
Proud moment for me.
And then you've open sourced it. So GMFC 101, the GM Farcaster AI bot, is now open source, built to help new users navigate Farcaster and discover content from the GM Farcaster Media Network, has access to hundreds of episodes from the GM Farcaster Media Network, uses GPT, Pinecone, and local disk storage for modular RAG setup. Words that whole entire sentence means nothing to me. Includes prompt routing, search logic to handle everything from metadata to deeper queries to questions about specific episodes. Open source on GitHub. There's a link there for you. Includes sample transcripts so you can test it locally or adapt it for your own media archive. If you're building AI tools for podcasts, media, or decentralized networks, this is for you. Disclaimer, it was built for GM Farcaster specific use and won't run out of the box for other content databases without modifications, but you're willing to assist if people have questions. So,
Of course.
and then hopefully, I don't know, maybe this as a service someday would be very useful as well. This from Laura, Laura Shin from CoinDesk and Unchained. I had the embarrassing experience of having to tell my accountant that for my only crypto transaction last year was receiving Fartcoin. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's very embarrassing.
I should have asked her, but just to clarify, was it embarrassing she only had one crypto transaction?
One? I'm not sure. Which part are you embarrassed about?
That it was Farcoin.
Which are you embarrassed about, Laura?
I assume she was embarrassed it was only one.
I'm assuming it was about the Farcoin. This couple quick things from Octant, and then we're going to bring up Chaskin. We're coming to the end of, whoops, come on, load for me. We're coming to the end of Degens and Dragons, by the way. So make sure you go mint. And then there's also some more information about this. So this is from Octant. GM, we just dropped the first of many Octant V2 posts, Degens, Dragons, and Ethereum alignment in action 0.10. This is a kickoff with more coming the next few weeks. And this is published as an X post. So you can go check that out. And sort of dive in more as to what is happening with Octant. And we will definitely be having a couple more folks on from Octant soon when they're ready to roll out V2, which is going to be a way for others within the ecosystem to use the tooling that they've built. And this is also from Octant. How can we apply our learnings from running Octant for 2 years to help other Ethereum aligned ecosystems grow? Putting together capital formation tools like DeFi and capital allocation mechanisms like quadratic funding, we can seamlessly grow any ecosystem. That was from Nick Node. Nico dropped these nuggets while breaking down how we're combining capital formation tools, DeFi, with allocation mechanisms like quadratic funding to unlock sustainable self-funding ecosystems. Greetings from CryptoCanal.Twitter at ETHDAM. ETHDAM? Damn, I'm not sure where. Assuming somewhere in Europe. So go check that out too. And we'll have them on to talk more about this very soon. But before we do that, we're going to bring up chaskin.eth, who's going to talk to us about what's been happening with the Ethereum Foundation and how they're making ETH go up in price. No, just kidding. This is such great timing. Yeah, go take the credit. I mean, might as well. I'm taking credit for all kinds of things for no reason whatsoever. Welcome, Chaskin. We're so glad to have you back to chat about the latest things that are happening. There's been a lot going on with Ethereum, from Pectra to various changes with what the Ethereum Foundation's been doing. So many things happening. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with Pectra and just talk a little bit about what that upgrade was and what's happening with that, and then we'll go from there?
Yeah, let's do it. That sounds great. So Petra did go live, I believe it was last week. People on Farcaster may have missed it because more trending was the Monad testnet airdrop, which I personally found hilarious. But yes, and it went smoothly, and so that was amazing to see. It was actually the biggest upgrade ever with regards to number of EIPs. So that was like super exciting to see, like a huge upgrade, and it still went smoothly. There were, I'll say, 3 like extremely notable upgrades for everybody. The one that is like most notable immediately was the blob size doubled. And so for people that like aren't familiar, layer twos like Base and Arbitrum, OP mainnet, they like consume Ethereum blob space. That's how they're able to like get very cheap transactions. And that blob space has actually been the not necessarily full, but at like the baseline level for a while now. And the goal is to have it be like a level where layer twos can like know confidently they could like keep fees low for their users for a long time. And so doubling those blobs was a good first step. And that was exciting to see. And that space has actually still not even filled up yet. So fees should hopefully remain low for a while now. And then the next
Is this something that'll have to be done on a regular basis, like an increasing? Is that a planned upgrade?
Yeah. So one thing that's cool actually that I'm not sure if this was part of the upgrade, but it'll be a thing going forward, definitely at the next one, was previously we actually needed to have like a hard fork like Petra in order to upgrade the blobs. Like or in order to add more blobs. And I'm not sure if it's this one or the next upgrade, but coming soon we'll actually be able to not even need to do a hard fork and just increase the number of blobs over time once we're ready. And yeah, and so I guess we could like skip ahead a little bit here because it's like actually leads in nicely. The next upgrade that hopefully will come by the end of the year, but if not, will be early next year, will actually further add more blobs. And then it'll be, I don't want to say easier because it's still difficult, but somewhat easier to add more blobs just like indefinitely going forward, because now we're actually doing like sharding of the database, which means like every node will actually only download a small amount of blobs, and then together like the whole network can be confident that it has the data. That's like very oversimplified, but yeah.
We like oversimplified. Thank you. I think everybody in the chat's like, yes, we like the oversimplified. Thank you very much. Okay, so what else was in this particular update?
Yeah, so another upgrade that's like super exciting, and I think we'll see the like benefits of this one over time, if not immediately, depending on which wallet you're using, is it was called like the number of it was 7702, but I've been calling it like upgradable EOAs. And what that allows you to do is like to turn your normal wallet that you're using into like a smart account. And there's like a lot of different benefits to that. The like most obvious one that like everyone's been clamoring for a while has been to get rid of the approve before you swap. And so now once like the wallets are upgraded to it, certain wallets are already upgraded to it, you'll actually be able to do those both in one swap. But I think that's just like the very initial tip of the iceberg. Like there's going to be so many more things coming from that. I've been like super excited about the benefits of account abstraction in general when it was first announced like 2 years ago, I think at this point. But for various reasons, people didn't like switch over to the wallets. And I don't blame them. Like you have all your like NFTs, you have all your previous transactions. Like people didn't want to switch to a new wallet. And I also think people didn't build like cool experiences to want you to switch over. But now you'll be able to do it all from your main wallet. And I think that's like super cool to be able to do things like subscription payments and not have to like sign a transaction every time or something like DCA.
That could be huge. That's huge for the consumer level, for like certain consumer apps and things like that. The subscription thing. I mean, we've seen that business model work very well in the traditional world. So it makes sense that that would be helpful, because right now with something like Hypersub, you're subscribing for a certain amount of months, but you're doing it in one block. Like you're subscribing like upfront, because we don't have a way to do that renewable, each time the way you can with credit cards and debit cards and things like that. So I think to me, that's a big unlock in terms of business model in consumer apps for sure.
Yeah, so, now we can, and it's really up to developers to like make new experiences, because your account is now kind of like a smart contract that's programmable in the same way like a normal smart contract is. And so I think that there's like a lot of opportunity there.
Very cool.
And then the last upgrade, this one's more in the weeds, but it's still like very big for the network. Previously, if you wanted to be a solo staker, you had to have, any type of staker, you had to have 32 ETH exactly in order to like spin up a new validator. So that means if you're somebody like Lido and you have, I don't even know how much validators they have, maybe like hundreds of thousands of validators.
Yeah.
You can't have like one validator and just like send all of your ETH in it. You have to break it up into 32 chunks. Now the maximum is actually 2048 ETH. And so what that means is Lido will actually be able to consolidate the number of validators. And that just makes the network more efficient because we'll have like less validators, but the same amount of ETH staked. So that means like Lido isn't doing unnecessary like voting and sending their votes to each other. They're like actually having closer to the number of ETH they have. And that'll like really help making the network more efficient and help with like future L1 scaling in the future. So those were like the three main big ones that we're excited to see go live. But then there are also smaller ones too.
Does that also, so there's always been this discussion around Lido and these very large staking blocks having sort of too much power, if you will, within in causing that sort of danger zone. If something happens to them, then does it take down Ethereum kind of thing? Does that help with that aspect or that risk at all? Or is it still there?
That's definitely still a risk. This doesn't help with that. Although one thing that's like casually happened, which has been like pretty cool to see, is one of the, I'll say, rare times when people being mad on social media actually led to like a positive result for the network, in the sense of that was maybe like a year and a half ago where they were like getting really close to the 33% dangerous threshold. And people getting mad at them actually did help people move, or not necessarily getting mad at them, getting mad at like the community for giving too much stake to them. Did help people like diversify from Lido and move into other staking solutions. And now I think they're around like 28, which is like pretty cool to see that they just like never even reached that threshold.
I had a lot of discussions about that with nouns. We've staked a lot with Lido, and I was, every time a prop came up to stake even more, I was like, no. We got it. There's other options. Let's go to Rocket Pool. Let's find something else. So we had those discussions ourselves, and I have known Superfizz from ETHStaker for a very long time. And it's the reason I'm even aware of this issue is because of his efforts. And a lot of that has been done on Twitter and done on YouTube and Reddit, of trying to push to make people aware of those risks in terms of how much is staked by one entity. I'll call it entity because you have Lido, but you also had that same concern with Coinbase. And it is easier for people to stake with Coinbase for like the normal retail, etc. So I kind of get that, but like with Lido, yeah, there's other options out there too. So balance yourself out, diversify. It also is just a smart thing to do from a risk perspective for yourself, because if you're putting all your eggs in one basket, then you're creating a fault point there for yourself too. So yeah. So good to see. That's interesting. Okay. Anything else from this particular upgrade that we should be aware of? And everything went incredibly smooth, and I'm always impressed by that. Like, these devs are so goated. It's massive upgrades that happen, and then it just goes on like, same thing, same day. Where if you think about tech upgrades through time, even when freaking Apple puts does an iOS update, there's always things that happen that do not go well. So it's really impressive to see these continuously happen. And I'm, knocking on wood, because obviously anything can happen, but it's always so impressive to me. Like with the merge, I was just, so impressed by how smoothly that went. But there's a lot of pre-work that goes into that, I'm sure, that to make that happen. So I assume everything, it's from the outside world, it looked like everything went great. Anything behind the scenes that led up to that, or that you want to sort of call out or talk about in terms of that?
Yeah, I think one thing that's interesting just to note here was one thing that was like slightly unusual from previous upgrades. Also, one thing I want to be clear first is I'm not a core dev. Like, also everything you just said about the core devs, I want to just echo, like, they are absolutely amazing. And they're also like across many organizations beyond the EF. The EF just has like one client, and there's like 9 other made ones that are from other organizations. And like, yeah, shout out to all the core devs. They're absolutely amazing. But yeah, so one thing interesting to call out here was the 2 previous testnet, or actually, well, one, there was like a new one spun up after the 2 previous ones actually did have bugs in the fork.
Oh,
And so there was a bit of a worry just because there were bugs in the forks. Now, the bugs were specific to the testnets themselves. Like the core devs knew that the bugs that showed up on the testnets were not ones that would show up on the mainnet fork. But like that was still slightly worrying to see going into this. But security is like the absolute #1 priority to the core devs. Like there's a reason why the Ethereum has never really gone down. And that's because like security is the #1 priority over everything else. And yeah, I mean, some people like you may have you just mentioned there, like, did anything go on behind the scenes that you might have not known about? And on my end, it's like just as shocking to see that nothing goes on behind the scenes either. Like everything is just so smooth all the time. And it's almost as if people are, even on the inside, are shocked. It's like, all right, another like smooth upgrade. Like there's no way. There has to be like something that maybe went wrong. Like
something we missed. Yeah.
No, at least as of now, like knock on wood, but everything went smoothly.
And for those who might be like newer to crypto, I mean, if you look, there's other chains, and we won't mention them, Solana, that have had multiple times where they've gone down for significant periods. And it's like very nerve-wracking when that happens. So like this is a big deal that we've seen this kind of consistency for sure. So it's amazing to see, and just again, shout out to those core devs. I mean, just holding it all together. We appreciate you.
Chaskin, I have a question. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, for those newer, even people not newer that might not know this, I still am just fascinated by the fact that like all the core dev calls / like upgrades, it's all done over live stream that like anybody can watch. Yeah. Anybody can even like join the Zoom. Anybody can make a GitHub pull request and be like, I want to talk about XYZ. The analogy I always use that like hits home, even like to me it's shocking, is like imagine if Apple did like their strategy meetings like on YouTube and anybody could watch. And that's just like so fascinating to me.
I didn't do it for this one, but for the merge, I was watching that when it went live, because that to me was like a moment that I didn't want to miss. And I got the PO app. I got the PO app for this one too. Like, I mean, yeah, I love it. Adrienne, what were you going to ask?
Oh, and I don't know if you know this question, like if you know this, but just about the core devs, what I was curious with, is it the same group of people who have been kind of working from the beginning? Are you seeing new devs get involved? Like, are we, and I like that you bring up, I guess, the whole process is permissionless and open source, which means people can contribute, but in reality, are you seeing kind of new participation, and what does that look like?
Yeah. So for that, I think maybe just for background there, I think I'm like kind of new to the ecosystem. I've actually only been at the EF for about 1.5 years, and this was like my first job in the space. But like from what I've seen, it's a mixture of both. Like some people have kind of been around forever-ish, but also the people that have been around for a while have kind of more faded into the background and let like new people step up. One story there I find kind of fascinating was the person who like kind of helped lead the coordination of the merge, Danny Ryan. He just like came across Ethereum because he thought it was interesting, was like at the time doing like consulting web dev work. And then it's like, like I'm like really fascinated by this upgrade. Like I'm gonna start contributing. And just like some person out there became like the lead coordinator for the merge.
That's wild.
But yeah, that was a side note. But yeah, I think it's a combination of both new faces and old ones.
And Danny Ryan was the one I saw a lot of calls for him to lead the Ethereum Foundation even. So his work was so heralded, I guess is the word, that there were people calling for him to step in, and he is doing something. I forget what his role is now, but it wasn't what people were asking him to sort of lead the foundation, but he's doing something else and I can't remember what at the moment.
Yeah, he became a co-founder of Etherealize.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay. So on that note, sort of talking about the Ethereum Foundation, there's been a lot of sort of moving parts and like, I don't want to say I don't know what the right word is. I don't want to say like completely, restructured, but there was some moving around and some readjustment of sort of the operations of the Ethereum Foundation. Do you want to touch on that a little bit and just talk about how that operates and like what were some of the recent changes and
Yeah.
what's the goal around those changes as well?
Yeah. So the EF is a nonprofit, and so there's not a CEO, but the person that is like I'll say the top of the chain, like in charge, is called the executive director. And for the past 7 years, that had been Aya Mitaguchi, and I think she's done like a fantastic job, especially considering the circumstances of like navigating Ethereum, which multiple times had like scares with like I'll say the SEC and legal stuff,
Yeah.
and the times have like really changed in the past couple of years, and she's
Yeah.
like really set a great foundation going forward. One thing that she kind of I'll say lasting kind of impact has been this idea of subtraction. And it's that if you want to have like a true decentralized ecosystem that's going to last like in decades and not just be like another centralized company rebranded as a decentralized company, is you actually want to do subtraction, which means like if the EF cannot be involved, that's the goal, because that means the community is doing something. And that means if the EF would disappear tomorrow, like the Ethereum ecosystem would be fine. And like that's kind of how we've kind of described decentralization. And I think that's a really great philosophy, and she did a fantastic job. But the times have changed a bit, and she had been in charge for 7 years, and I do think like it was time for a new kind of change in direction. And so with that, she announced that she'd become president of the Ethereum Foundation, like kind of like not involved with the day-to-day anymore, but still like help with strategy. And there were two new EDs that were kind of appointed, and they officially started a month ago, and they were Xiaowei Wang, and she had been at the Ethereum Foundation since like 2017 or 2016, like very, very talented like consensus researcher. So like she was very integral in the merge and like really knowledgeable with regards to like cryptographic systems. And then the other one was Tomas. I'm actually not sure how to pronounce his last name, but it's a Polish. And he was the founder of Nethermind, the second biggest execution client. And Nethermind also does like a whole bunch of other things. They're like really they do a great consulting blockchain work, and they're helping to build this like really cool open source code that's called Surge, that a stage 2 roll up out of the box. And like they're not going to do any like token or anything like that. Someone's actually building their stack to like try to do this like totally neutral roll up called R1. But yeah, side note there. And he is definitely like very well respected in the community. And like one thing that Danny Ryan actually said was Danny had a talk with Tomas, and he goes, "Yep, like Ethereum Foundation like got the right guy. Like I'm so confident in him." And so that's definitely also
that
like,
helps, and that makes people feel better who were calling for Danny Ryan to take that spot. So that's a big endorsement, which is really important, because you want, there's been a lot of chatter over the past year that the Ethereum Foundation had lost their way, and honestly, a large portion of this is not relevant, because it is just numbers going down and I'm mad and you're ruining my bags and it's your fault because they want somebody to blame. So taking that out, there is some actual legit feedback, criticism, etc., that people are saying it might be time for just a new approach. And I think that's smart, because people get burned out too. So if you've been leading something for a very long time, it's, oftentimes great to turn over the reins, especially in something that is decentralized, or, at least approaching that direction. You need to switch it up, rotation of service kind of thought mindset there. And it's helpful, because you might be missing something, you might be tired, you might, sometimes it's just helpful to get that fresh blood in there with new perspectives. But also I think it's great that the previous executive director is staying on, because institutional memory is important as well, because you don't want to make the same mistakes over and over again, right? So that only way to prevent that is to have somebody there to say, oh, hey, yeah, that seems like a new idea, but guess what? We did it 4 years ago and here's what happened and it sucked. Don't do that. You need that person there who can provide that, especially because you can put as much stuff in the public as you want and open source and all that kind of thing, but there's always things that happen behind the scenes that either people weren't paying attention to or just didn't know about or didn't care about, and you don't want to repeat those mistakes. So I think it feels like this is a really good balance and a good way to move forward. So are you what are sort of like some of the priorities and things that Ethereum Foundation is now focusing on going forward for this new change, this new regime change?
Yeah, so there's like 3 key goals that I'll say EF leaders have been putting out to the public, and that's been 1, to scale to L1, 2, to scale blobs, so like help scale to L2, and then 3, to improve UX, and that's mainly focused around L2 interrupt stuff. And then to do that, they're focused on very much being more making sure the core dev process is more efficient, and then secondly, us being more involved in the ecosystem and kind of
that was a good piece of feedback, I think, that you heard a lot about, is that are you guys even using on-chain tools? Are you like that? I think that's a great point. So that's good to see. That's great.
And so they've only been started for about a month, but we've definitely already have felt their different styles of leadership. They're both more, I'll say, active leaders, while IO is more let the team leads kind of do their thing. And I think we definitely needed the shakeup for the reasons that you mentioned.
Great. Adrienne, what other questions do you have for Chaskin? Anything I missed?
Not on Ethereum. I love Chaskin. Two-timer, come back as often as you want, because we like the updates.
Yeah, we love the Ethereum updates.
How's Farcaster these days for you?
Oh, I think Farcaster is great.
So
yeah, no, of course. I mean, I love Farcaster. As you guys see, I'm on Farcaster all the time. I love it way more than I like any other social media. I actually genuinely love I like being on Farcaster compared to Twitter. It's more of I'm on it for my job to tweet about Ethereum.
And apparently you're Bobby Flay, which is great.
Yeah, I do think that's a funny celebrity.
This was hilarious. Love this. This is so funny. Yeah, you're very active on here. You're catching all the metas. Great to see. And you donated to the Farcaster Retro PGF round that's coming up, which is being hosted by Octant and Purple. So great to see you on the timeline all the time as well. It's fun to see. Whoops.
Yeah, I think the energy is great. I really do love the builder energy of people just shipping mini apps, talking about their startups. I feel like from its birth, it had this kind of little brother energy where it's we weren't the cool kids of Twitter, so we had to come over to Farcaster and kind of prove ourselves. And now that's shifted where it's we don't even want to be on Twitter anymore.
We are the cool kids now.
Yeah.
All right, remind me,
so
where's
funny.
Dan in the birth order of his 20 brothers? Is he the younger brother?
It's only 4 of them, and I think he's in the middle. I think he's number 3 or something.
All right,
that's funny. I hadn't thought about that analogy, but that analogy is kind of perfect. It's actually kind of perfect, and it's and those big accounts still haven't made their way over. And you know what? It's fine. I'm fine with that. Except for Vitalik. We love Vitalik.
DGen, or when there's I forgot what the latest wave was, when they could maybe make some money. And I'm well, I won't see you in a week. And then obviously that ends up being the case.
Yep.
How was your FarCon?
It was great. I mean, I always do enjoy getting together with people. I actually had a cast about this where there's some conferences where you could tell that there's a soul, and FarCon has that. That's because someone else tweeted crypto conferences are useless. Just came back from Token 2049 and nothing new is being built. It's well, you went to this conference that is just sending BD people or people that want to go party on a yacht, Noda, that you didn't like enjoy being there because nobody like actually wanted to be there. Versus like FarCon is people like coming from around the world because like we do want to like meet together and like are passionate about Farcaster. And so yeah, I thought it went really well. Yeah, there's
Yep. I had to go find it real quick. Yeah, I think that's a great insight, because it does feel like that. And I've been to a lot of different crypto conferences. I've never made it to that particular one, but I've been to Consensus and I've been to NFT NYC and, you know, the Art Basel events and ETH Denver and all these different ones. And FarCon's just different. It's just different. It's because it's builders. It's people who are actually building things. You don't have a real booth space, if you will, where,
Mhm.
you know, you're getting shilled and you're just going around trying to pick up whatever cool swag they have. And it doesn't feel like a conference per se. It feels like a bunch of friends getting together who know each other on the internet and want to actually meet in person and then want to build stuff together. So what I saw happening all over the place at every little meetup, and it was people connecting and go, oh, I'm building this. Oh, that's cool. And maybe we should do this together, and talking about collabs, or, oh, I'm getting stuck with I'm stuck on this, whatever. I can't get my frame to do XYZ, or mini app. I got to put $10 in the jar. Sorry, Linda. I'll send you 10. So like, it's that kind of thinking of, you're there to learn, to connect, and to build things, and it's just a very different vibe. And I think there's been some conferences, like I've heard that for about ETHCC, but it's more of a hackathon. But I heard that's one of the ones I haven't made it to, and DevCon. But I've heard those have some similar vibes, but a lot of them just don't. So I love that insight. I love that insight.
I'm gonna throw ETH Denver under the bus too. Whenever I'm at ETH Denver, it's like every 1 in 3 person I can tell is talking to me, and then once they realize that they have nothing to sell me, they'll just like immediately, oh, I gotta go buy them. All right, well, this is just not a fruitful conversation.
I did see somebody comment about you're talking to somebody and they're looking that way, and I think it was Matthew. They're looking for somebody more interesting to talk to, and it's like, and even at FarCon, I guess that can happen. And I'm like, oh God, I hope I didn't do that, because I was running around all over the place doing that because there were people I needed to talk to about, because we were actually doing stuff at FarCon. So I would have to I got to run. I'm sorry. I'll talk to you later, but I got to go find Emma yet again because, or I have to go find
has too.
Yeah.
One thing I was thinking about that too is there's just like so much going on at these conferences where I'm like, wow, I hope it wasn't me, because you just never know if like, oh, you're just like looking around, like not necessarily like for someone more important. There's just like so many stimulating things going on.
I know. I'm like, I hope I didn't do that to anybody. If I did, I'm sorry, but it wasn't on purpose. I swear. I probably just had to get somewhere really fast because I was about to interview somebody. But I really agree. It's like FarCon's just hits different, and I hope we can keep that same vibe. It's getting harder the bigger it gets, to be honest, but I still think it's even this year was amazing. So
I think it will. Someone actually asked that and like commented on my cast that exact question, and like my response was DevCon. I feel like still has that, and DevCon is now like absolutely massive. There's like, I think there was maybe like 8,000 people went to Bangkok, and that is huge. And I still feel like DevCon has that like real feel, and I think FarCon will too, because there's just like a real.
Oop. Did we lose him? Oh no, we lost you.
Or of people,
Oh,
and this is like the OG. FarCon 9 won't have it. Whenever like the remix Farcaster conference, but I think FarCon will.
I hope so. I really hope so. And I think there'll be little OG pop-ups of side events and things like that for smaller groups. And I think we've had that happen where even with this one, you had these sort of smaller mix-up that were happening on the side, apart from the summit and apart from the hackathon. And I think that worked. I think that worked well. It allowed, something like, Humpty's Creator Summit to pop up and be the thing that creators could go to who weren't hacking and things like that. So I think there's opportunity there. But I think, that's what I've heard as well. Like DevCon seems to still have that vibe. And I think it's possible to keep it with FarCon as well. So we'll keep going. Adrienne, anything else before we wrap?
can't hear you guys. I don't know if it's me. Can
Oh,
you two hear each other?
we can. And now
Yes.
we hear you.
Uh,
We do hear you if you can hear us. Hopefully.
hmm.
You did cut out for a
Maybe let
minute.
me leave and rejoin.
We're about
Sure.
to wrap
What-
anyway. We're about to wrap up. So, Adrienne, anything else before we wrap? Do you want to drop a note in there?
But we're good. Anything else? I'll see you at noon for CastOut.
Yep, we'll be back at noon. And
meme on. And thanks, Chaskin. I don't know if he hears
thank you,
us, but
Chaskin.
for
We're
coming
not
back.
sure if you hear us. Maybe you can type it in the chat and let him know. And we're going to wrap up and we'll be back at noon. We'll see you then. And then we'll be back on Friday for our regular GM Farcaster at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We will have Toady Hawk joining us to talk about Betterment. So we will see you then. And Chaskin, I know you can't hear us, but thank you so much. We loved having you here. And we'll see you all in just a little bit. And that's it, everyone. Bye-bye. Oops.